I thought since we're dealing with simplicity, that it might be fun to give you a few quotes on simplicity. Listen to these. The first one, the French painter Emile, the great artist is the simplifier. And then listen to this one, with an apple I will astonish Paris. That was Cézanne. And then the last one I thought was kind of cute. It says, less is more. And this is a famous architect who did a lot of the famous New York skyscrapers. I wish his name was a little more simple. I'll give it to you as I can read it. Mies van der Rohe. Okay? Simplicity. Let's get a simple name. Buck. We're going to do a nice little scene today. It has rocks, middle grass area, and then some beautiful trees. They're inviting, and they say, Rover, Red Rover, try and come over. But when you join with them, then they say, we can do it together. So let's go ahead and let's go over Red Rover, Red Rover. I'll show you first the canvas. Simple white canvas that was primed with just a wash of burnt sienna acrylic. Just brush it on thinly. Go a couple different directions so you smooth out some of the strokes, but a few strokes there will help. I have my strokes left more in a vertical manner. Okay, let's go down to the palette then, and we'll mix up some colors. The first one is for the background, and I have about four parts white, and then we'll mix half as much black. Is that about right? Might be a little strong. And then even less yellow ochre. So I have 4 white, 2 black, 1 ochre. And after I do this, we'll add in just a touch of phthalo green. The phthalo green comes over and it turns that kind of golden green into just a little more green like that. That looks pretty good. Let's see if that's enough. I believe that'll be all right. And at the same time, I'm saying that I don't believe it'll be all right. I want more yellow ochre in it. Now, I'm a believer. We know it. Okay, let's go up to the canvas with this. I have already put some magic clear on the canvas, so I won't use any extra medium to push this on. 1-inch brush. You push it on quite heavily, although I can still feel a little bit of the burnt sienna playing through. That'll be a nice color. That burnt sienna color will be nice when we start wiping for some of the tree trunks to show. The lights of the tree trunks. I'm going to go ahead and put on each of the bands of color. We'll have a middle band here and then for the rock area without detail. So we cover the canvas. I'll be using the same 1-inch brush, so I'll clean that with my odorless thinner. Clean the knife, and we'll come down for the next color. The middle green color. This is equal parts of yellow and white. Let's do this. Yellow, this is white. Yes, I know. It's a good thing it had the name there. You wouldn't know what it was, yellow or white. Here comes yellow. And we mix those two together. And then we'll add a little bit more of the dark top color. Push that into that. And this, too, will need a little phthalo green. You know, when we're talking about colors and that, it made me realize that there's many times that I've taught across the country, and I'd have people in the class that are colorblind. How did they do in the class? Excellent. Oh, my gosh, they do such a great job on values and blending and character. Just the finest work. Sometimes you might have to tell them which color is which if the colors are very close in value, a light pink or a light green and so on. But oh my goodness, what you'd almost think of as a handicap became a blessing because of the great work they did. We each use what we have and we go forth, don't we? Okay, let's take and put this green up, and this will go right in here. And as I put this, I'm thinking grass, so you're right away kind of pushing it along that aspect, that thought. It's going to be growing, grass. Do you let any of the brown, the burnt sienna show through? Maybe a little bit on the sides. Actually, by doing it that way, then it looks a little darker, doesn't it? My lightest area will be right in front. When I say right in front, right near the middle there. Push this up and let it just touch a little bit above the line that we have there. So it kind of invites us to go on past there. And then I'll come down and we'll do the next color. This will be the foreground rock area, and we're going to make this very golden. I'll have some yellow ochre. I need to squeeze out some more yellow ochre. This shows you how to squeeze the tube like that. That's right in the middle. You know, that my wife just loves that. Okay, let's take orange over, about 1/3 as much orange. Good. So we have 3 ochre and 1 orange. And then we'll see how much white we put into that. I'll bring the white over. White, let's put it right there. First thought is, what will happen if you use equal white in that color, in the golden color? If that's good, fine. If not, well then lighten it a little bit. So we'll put just a little more light in, a little more white into it, and this will be also put on with the 1-inch brush. 1-inch brush, push it around. Let me just repeat, we do not put any extra medium on because I have it on the canvas already. And this, as you notice, you'll push up, just touch into the green a little bit too, so you get rid of the sharp edge there. I can still see a drawing, slight little feeling of the rocks through there. Very simplified drawing, just enough to give me a little hint where the trees still are and where the rock outlines are. You notice, and again, in this case, I push harder as I go near the edges, not quite as much paint, so that your focus is in the middle. You're really simplifying this. You want to feel that with one view, you can see what's going on. Now, there's many trees out there, as you saw where Bill and I were standing. A lot of trees out there, but we focused in on just a few. You know, whether you're a advanced artist or, let's say, experienced artist, or if you're a beginner, you still have the idea. Simplification is very important. It's very helpful. Often you just say, let's do it like a child would see, and they see with simplification. Okay, now for the trees, I think that'll be helpful if we put those on. 2 orange. Okay, let's take this over here. And then I have some permanent red. We could almost just use pure burnt umber, but this is kind of pretty. And let's take one phthalo blue. We'll squeeze a little phthalo blue out there. And so we have 2 red, 2 orange, and 1 blue. That's kind of a pretty color. It's strong. And you know, it's fun when you put it on that you don't even blend it all or mix it all together carefully. So I'll take the badger brush, and when we come up there, we'll just come right down through where the trees are. I need to have a little more red than that. That's just a little darker than I want. So here's permanent red. Push over on the edge. That'll be a better tree. I'll pick up a little teeny bit of medium. That's a little bit stiff. Okay, we'll jump over there. Oh, I think we got that. Yeah, that's a little better. A little more reddish. We'll put this on just as a simple flat tone, and then I'll come back and we'll wipe a little bit and add some lights on there. I believe it'd be easier to do if we put these on, find out where the foliage goes, and then wipe out and put on the lights of the trees. Otherwise, you're going to be mixing a little bit wet paint into wet paint into wet paint. This will come over on this one, and we'll hide some of these trees more than others. Right now, they're just simple soldiers standing there. And a thin one over here, and we have 2 more here. Actually, I want 3 more there. We'll have this one, and he has a neighbor just a little bit in the rear there, and then another one, not quite as important, just kind of fading out over on the side. Let's go ahead and blend those just a little bit with a bunny brush, because that will soften them a little bit, and then we'll put the foliage on top. Just ever so gently. You start out with the idea that a gentle touch is all that you need. And if it is, fine. If it isn't, then increase it. That way you will always save your drawing, your painting, your trees in this case. Gently, if that's what it needs. And you don't mind if some of that goes over into the background a little bit too. That can even be some shadows down below. No problem there. Okay, now we'll leave that, and we're going to go ahead and we'll put on the foliage. The foliage will be, let's see, we'll use black and green, phthalo, green, and ivory black. I guess it doesn't matter which one I pick up first because they both look dark, don't they? That was black, and here's a phthalo green. And we're going to add some cad yellow into that. All 3 of them are equal. You're all equal. Black and green and yellow. And it's just like out there. You're all different, but you're all equal in the respect of how I feel about you, whether you're a beginner, whether you're just watching, whatever it is, adult, older, I love you all. And I appreciate you. Thanks for being there. Okay, here comes the darks. Darks, I have a fan brush. And the first use of this, we'll just kind of scrub around, put in an area where lighter foliage will go on top. So this is merely shadow type foliage where you don't put the foliage and then you see through and it looks a little more faint. And it gives the impression that you're seeing into the distance. Notice as I put this on, sometimes a full brush, sometimes the corner of the brush. It's blending quite well as I go just putting it on. If it's not enough, then we can always come back with a 1-inch brush or the bunny brush. And you'll find the other thing that happens here, which is pleasing too. It does mix in a little bit with the tree color, and that's fine. That just adds a little extra color out into the foliage. So you get a lot of serendipitous colors up there. Accidental, you might say, but it benefits the painting by being there. You can try both ways. You could try putting the trees on, wiping the lights out, and then doing this, but I'm choosing to do this way. I'm trying to simplify it. We often find that if the more simple a thing is, the more easily understood it is. And it has a kind of a native beauty if you go a little more towards the simplification. Let me tell you one thing about deciding how much to include in a painting. As you are doing the viewing of your actual object or your subject, in this case the landscape, if I use my fingers and just put it up like this, see like that? And whatever I see through there with the little viewfinder being about that far from you, then you paint what you see there. Now you can put your finger over in the nose and then just go out 1 little inch and you paint that scene. So you move it around, your viewfinder around and decide what you want to paint. Very similar if you have a camera and you're using that inside dark, whatever you frame. It's just beautiful. You pretend that the frame's already on the scene out there. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of this darker green down low too, and at the same time I'll hit against the trees so that you pick up and put a little red into that green. It makes it just a little more of a shadow color. Go up just a little higher so we get some darks in there, and especially on the sides so that you're expecting to go back through the middle. That's the pathway that we want you to take. Simply go through the middle. All right, now let's go ahead and put on some lighter lights up here. See, we're going to stay at the top, come right down the canvas. For the lights on the tree, this is the color that we used on the middle ground. Okay, so that's good. It's already mixed for us. Now when you use a fan brush, I'll use it a little bit, the nature and character of those fir trees. So you're using a lot of the total fan like that. See, often you say, well, get some variety in your strokes. Well, on these type trees, there's not a lot of variety. So you can use a full brush. I like it when you go up, when you don't have much paint on the brush, so you get another value. Again, the simplification, just by using one brush, using the one mixture of colors, but using less or more. Now here, I'm going down and I am using the corner of the brush, but it's still very repetitious in shape. Come down a little lower. That's very pretty, and it's so nice to work that wet into wet there because you get a nice blend. One value can be turned into several values. Okay, let's go over to the next tree. And this one has a strong light here. This is kind of the traffic cop, and he's saying, come this way. Something else that will help that when we get lighter light down here and a little gleams back there, a little earth color, then you go back that way. It tells you how to go through, enter into the picture. It reminds me of the saying where it says, if you want to get into the woods, you can't lean on your family tree. And that's really true. You know, maybe your uncle was an artist or somebody else. You have to get up there and do it yourself. I don't care how much time you let go before you did it. You can do it now. Oh my gosh, I was so impressed in a reception line for Bill Alexander at an open house. Meet these people, 80, 85. They had just been painting 3 weeks. Bill inspired them. at any age. That's a great attitude. Get going. It's never too late, but do it now. Let's come over here. We have a little height needed there. And when I say height, I have the highlight up higher on the tree. And a little bit on this one, and just a little bit. This one will kind of point back. Now, notice what I'm doing there. This is pointing back towards where I want my path to go. So you certainly are using the idea of composition to guide you, guide the eye, guide the viewer on where to look. Let's see, do I have enough there? I feel I could use a little bit more at the top here, and then we'll just dance some of this around here and there. Just kind of some loose foliage around there, some lower bushes. I believe that's all right. I will intend to come back there with just a little extra highlight when we, after we go with lighter lights here. Let's stay at that area with the trees. And the first thing we'll do on them will be to wipe. Wipe for the lights. The light is coming from the left. So on this one, we wipe right there. And see, I can wipe hard, and what happens? The ground is there. The priming of the canvas, the burnt sienna, is still there. So that's a great reason to use it. And you can see to the left and to the right that you have a little bit of that burnt sienna playing through the other greens that are there. That's what you call quality of color when you get paint coming through each other. Highlight over here, but we'll go higher. You can hear it. I'm pushing, wiping very hard, so it's very dry. And a little bit on this one, and maybe just a touch wipe there. Okay, now we'll go ahead and add some lights on there. Let's do it this way. Let's start with a brush. And I have the mixture that we had put on the lower rock area. And that was the 3 ochre and 1 orange and about 3 white. I'll add just a little extra orange to it. And then this will come up. I'll use this brush, knowing that the light's coming from the left. We'll put it on like that, over like this. I'll wipe the brush just a little bit so I don't have quite as much paint on it. And then I'll touch right here. This is just a little too high because we want to feel this is hanging over and it would cast a shadow down on itself. We'll use a little bit of this on the neighboring trees. I'll spot it here and there just a little bit so you get a feeling like the light's just dancing down, touching those on the sidelines a little bit too. We'll go up here and there just to help feel that you're seeing the trunks up there. Okay, then we have another important spot. This is a little higher, right up there. And then when we come with a lighter light, then we have to make one of these to be more dominant, and it'd be the one on the right. Okay, there, and just a little spot there. And here, practically nothing, but somewhat there. Okay, let's go ahead and blend those with the bunny brush. As I do this, my thought is, well, should I blend that foliage? I don't think so. That looks pretty good. So let's just blend across the trunks of the trees. Touch that slightly. A little bit in here, a little bit there. And now I'll come a little lighter. Let's go ahead with a knife. This is the, this is the color that we did not put on that foreground, did we? Oh, yes, we did too. This is what we put on the foreground before orange was added to it for the trees. So just a little lighter with this. Isn't that a nice knife? You can see everything that happens as you put that on, can't you? I want to scrape that slightly. Good. Nice thing when you're painting here. Whatever happens, whether it's a mistake or if it's on purpose, you say, oh, that's good. See, you believe that, don't you? That was good. Okay, a little bit up here. We put this up higher and not as much. So this is more important, isn't it? I do have one spot, and I've changed the knife because it has a place for just a small amount of paint to go on right there. Do I want any down there? No, that'll be enough there. I'll do a couple things still up at the trees. I'm going to take some of the same color that we put on the trunks here, and we'll make some little arms hanging out here. Now I use a lot of thinner on this to make this very soupy, and just have these kind of curve down. You don't have to really see where they start at. I need to lighten that just a little bit, a little more white in it. So it's really the same colors we put down on the rocks. Like this, we'll put some up in here. They're just kind of old dried branches here and there. Put this over in here. Just a couple in here. Now I'm going to go to the next area down in here. And what we want there is pretty much the same thing that we have. Boy, are those hands blue. Okay, we'll put this over here, and we'll just add a little more white to it. I believe that's good, but let's see what happens if we add just a little more yellow too. A little more yellow. I like that, more yellow. Okay, now what I'll do with this color and the fan brush is tap it on so it represents some foliage growing here. Just a little start of growing foliage, and that leans up the same way. We have these things all saying, simply follow me into the woods. And what helps quite a bit is right near where the rocks will be, if I take some of that same color with a fan brush and watch what happens when you use that type of stroke. Impact, you push it hard, lean hard, pull up. And as you pull up, you kind of lessen your pressure on it a little bit. Doesn't that keep showing what you have there? It shows what you have. You got some nice grass. Let's come over with a little more of the darks. I have a little of this green and back to the dark green that we put up in the foliage because I want to dance around just a few little leaves. This will give us some shadow type leaves around there. Let them go right up against the trees, touch around there. I'll blend those in just a little bit, a little softer over here. Now I'll blend those with the bunny brush, like that. Okay, now we'll come down on the rocks. On the rocks to start with, let's go ahead, we're going to do this very simply. We'll take burnt umber, and we'll take some white, burnt umber, white, and some black. And this will give us just our shadows. You know, I'm going to keep painting, but I want to talk to you. I once heard an announcer on the radio say, we're going to have tryouts for the Handel Messiah. We're going to have a chorus. Bring your own score. My goodness, I thought, what a thing to say, bring your own score. Gee, I've played sports all my life. In basketball, we say, bring your own score. Okay, I'll bring 22 points. Football, bring your own score. I'll bring 3 touchdowns. Bring your own score. Baseball, I'll bring 3 home runs. But you know what? In the newspapers, it always talks about the athletes who have an average of such and such. He has a 22-point average in basketball, so I guess we really do bring our own score. But let me tell you about in art. Bring your own score, bring your own attitude. I have a great attitude. That's what I'll bring. I don't have a great attitude? I'll bring one anyway. Isn't that? It's so simple. Just decide what you want to do and do it. Okay, we'll come down to the highlights on the rocks. Let's use white, and I have a little bit of this color that we had put down on the lower rocks to start with. A little bit of that, and then we'll pick up some of the, where did this gray color come from? Boy, are you ever pretty. That's what we had in the background in the first place. So all you're doing is just making kind of old sandy type rocks. Orange and white with a little bit of the background color that was up there. Put these on. This will make it just a little weathered, and then we'll decide to go a little lighter here and there with them as well. Put some over here. You know, I'll tell you how you can make, say, bring your own score. I'll tell you how you can make some music. Just trying is music to the ears. Simply try. I've tried to make this very simple for you today, and I think we've accomplished what we want on that. I'm going to make just a couple quick strokes. See how the rocks are very kind of indistinct? They go off to the sides with the bunny brush. Let's just touch this a little bit. Just like that. And then we'll take the fan brush, a little bit of the green. This was a distant color here. We'll just touch this around a little bit so you get some in between there. And we'll do one other thing. We don't put a lot of this on, but we put some of this on. But just a little teeny bit of this golden orange color that we put on the tree, have it go right up in here. See, we kind of sparkle that, so that becomes a little bit of a path. I can go from here to there. Boy, I'll tell you, simplicity it is, and we've done a good job on you. You are great. You are simply great, and so are you.